You know the laws of power. You never outshine the master.
Mm-hmm.
You see what I'm saying? Like, I even had that conversation and said it to Drake.
Devon Williams, who's behind bars for life for murdering rapper XXXTentacion, is now appealing his case, his conviction, his sentence on the grounds that he did not receive a fair trial. And this is in part due to what his attorneys say is the exclusion of evidence that pointed the finger or maybe pointed the finger at other people. And one of those people whose name has come up is rapper Drake.
But I wouldn't be shocked if this man right here wanted to serve Drake some humble pie. And this man being Lucien Grange, the CEO of Universal Music.
50 has officially switched sides and jumped into the industry war against Drake just a few months after he was bigging him up during that wild beef with Kendrick Lamar. Yeah, rewind to last summer. 50 was all smiles with Drake, even flew out to link up with him in Toronto. They were toasting it up like everything was all love. But now, man, the script has done a full 180. 50's out here clowning Drake on the daily like it's a paid gig, and word on the street is it's all tied to Drake's legal battle with Universal Music Group. So here's the rundown. Drake just hit UMG with a lawsuit accusing his own label of using bots and shady payola to boost Kendrick's diss track, Not Like Us. Yep. Drake's calling them out for allegedly giving the ops an unfair push. But UMG ain't backing down. Insiders say they're about to come for Drake hard. People are whispering that execs at UMG have been sitting on a vault full of dirt about Drake and his OVO crew, and they might be ready to air it all out. And Kendrick? He might have seen this storm coming. Remember when he dropped that bar about the embassy about to get raided too? Fans are convinced he was throwing shade at OVO, hinting that some questionable business might be going down behind closed doors, some folks even comparing it to the stuff Diddy's been accused of. Now that Drake's biting the hand that fed him, some insiders think UMG could hit back with a full-on takedown, industry style, no mercy. And when it comes to drama, you know 50 Cent lives for it. He's already sliding into the mess with slick little jabs at Drake. So let's talk receipts.
You listen to
Nigga, that's Drake. Nigga, that's Drake you got in there.
First, back in July, right when the Kendrick versus Drake beef was cooking, 50 posted a flick of him and Drake chilling in Toronto. He even captioned it, "Brainstorming last night, me and Champagne Poppy gonna get the camera rolling. Biggest thing on your TV." That sounded like a collab, right? And then boom, a clip goes viral of them sipping and laughing it up like besties. You already know folks weren't feeling it when 50 linked up with Drake while that Kendrick beef was still hot, especially over on the West Coast. People saw it as a straight-up slap in the face. And let's not forget, 50 owes a whole chunk of his early shine to Dr. Dre, so that move, it stung. Then things went left real quick after Drake stirred up even more drama by throwing shade at Tupac. Yes, Tupac. While chilling in Toronto with 50, Drake posted a flick of himself standing in front of a black BMW that looked eerily similar to the one Tupac was riding in the night he was shot back in '96. Fans were not having it. Speculation blew up. People started saying Drake was dropping subliminals at Kendrick again, using the car as a bold, slick diss. Now, to be clear, it wasn't the actual car from that night, but still, the vibes were off. Fans felt like it was shady and disrespectful, especially during a beef with a West Coast heavyweight like Kendrick. And the fact that 50 was right there, co-signing the moment, yeah, that didn't sit well either. Even though 50's from New York, he's always had deep roots in Cali thanks to Dre, the man who helped launch him into superstardom. So him standing next to Drake in the middle of all that heat, it looked wild. But here's where it gets juicy. 50's pulled a full-blown U-turn. He's not backing Drake anymore. He's clowning him hard. Recently, he even posted behind-the-scenes footage from a trip with his G-Unit squad, Tony Yayo included, and he made sure the shade at Drake was crystal clear. So in this behind-the-scenes video, there's a moment where 50 and his G-Unit crew are flying private, and things take a turn real quick. 50 looks over at Tony Yayo, asks him what he's bumping in his headphones, and Yayo casually drops that he's listening to Kendrick's new album, GNX. That's when 50 cracks a grin and says Yayo gets a pass for it, and boom, that was his moment to slide in some slick shade at Drake.
Yeah, it's a long flight. Show me something for
Listen to some music.
No, listen to music right now. What you listening to?
Kendrick shit. That's Kendrick's new album? Yeah. Can you get a pass? Get a pass, you listen to Kendrick. Nigga, that's Drake. Nigga, that's Drake you got in there.
About this ring, man. Well, the niggas from G-Unit didn't give him nothing. I gave him stuff.
He already got what he got for bringing the me. So how did you give me?
Now folks are really starting to think there's a reason behind 50's sudden switch up, and it ain't just about petty drama. It's tied to that wild legal mess Drake just stirred up. See, Drake filed major petitions against both UMG and Spotify, accusing them of messing with the numbers. He's basically saying they boosted Kendrick's diss track Not Like Us by faking streams and playing with the system. And to a lot of people in the game, that move didn't sit right. 50 included. Let's be real, running to court over a diss track, that doesn't scream battle ready. It screams corporate panic. That's not how hip-hop handles beef. Now, it's not just 50 turning cold. It feels like the whole industry's flipping on Drake. People are dragging him for suing over losing a rap battle, saying it proves Kendrick was right when he called him a colonizer.
Who has the real defamation case in this situation is Kendrick's woman. Because Drake not only said Kendrick was beating on her, he said that Dave Free, Kendrick's business partner and friend, was the real father to one of Kendrick's kids. So if you're going to accuse somebody of defamation, you must first make sure you too aren't guilty of defamation, okay? Drake saying that Kendrick defamed him is indeed the pot calling the kettle beige, but that's not even why I'm giving him Donkey of the Day, okay? I'm giving him Donkey of the Day because Drake is proving without a shadow of a doubt that he simply doesn't understand culture.
And it gets worse. Now they're calling him a Karen. But honestly, that's the least of his problems, because this legal drama might open up way more than he bargained for. UMG had Drake's back for years. They reportedly even covered up some sketchy allegations from back in 2021. And let's not forget, they gave him a deal worth a crazy $500 million. That kind of money, that's not just rare, that's unheard of in hip-hop. UMG CEO Lucian Grange even once said Drake can get any amount of money he asks for.
Scheming, Drake says, tell Lucian I said, I'm tearing holes in my budget.
Tell Lucian I said, I'm tearing holes in my budget.
Did Drake call you up after that and say, hey, I need more money for my project?
If ever Drake or whenever Drake calls up and says he needs more money for his project, I give it to him.
But now, that same label might be gearing up to flip on him hard. But this is where things really start to get messy. Remember that explosive lawsuit producer Lil Rod filed against Diddy back in February? Yeah, well, at first, that case didn't just go after Diddy. It also named Lucian Grange and Universal Music Group as co-defendants, and Lil Rod didn't hold back. He claimed Lucian actually helped bankroll and protect Diddy's whole alleged criminal setup. According to the lawsuit, Mr. Jones recalls seeing defendant Grange visiting Mr. Combs' home in Miami, Florida, and Los Angeles, California. And here's where it gets shady. Whenever defendant Grange visited Mr. Combs at his home, it would be in the evening. And he and Mr. Combs would disappear for hours in Mr. Combs' bedroom. That part had everybody raising their eyebrows. Lil Rod also accused Lucian of aiding, abetting, and funding Sean Combs' wild business ventures, basically saying he was part of the inner circle that helped Diddy pull it all off by dropping huge amounts of cash into the mix. But then, in May 2024, boom, news broke that Lucian Grange and UMG were suddenly dropped from the lawsuit. Most folks saw that coming though, because let's be real, Lucian is one of the most powerful men in the entire music game. His lawyers weren't letting him go down easy. Just when Lucian and UMG thought they dodged a bullet with that Diddy case, here comes Kendrick and Drake blowing up the internet. And Kendrick clearly hinted he might dig even deeper and start exposing more of the industry's skeletons. Best believe UMG was watching that battle real close. The last thing Lucian needed was to get pulled right back into some OVO drama after barely escaping the Diddy firestorm. But now that Drake's coming for UMG with those lawsuits, insiders are saying he's messing with some dangerous people, and he might just be next in line for the full Diddy treatment. Here's where it gets real. UMG already warned Drake to fall back way before he filed those spicy petitions accusing them of payola. Remember back in August when Drake tried to shake the table by dropping 100 gigs of unreleased tracks? It was supposed to be a big moment, but Universal didn't waste a second. They hit him with copyright strikes so fast, 3 of those tracks vanished off his site immediately. Drake wasn't having it. He clapped back on his private Instagram, posting a screenshot of UMG's takedown notice, basically putting them on blast. But instead of cooling off, Drake cranked it up. Now he's waist deep in smoke with the same label that once had his back. Fans are already buzzing with theories, and some are saying UMG might be plotting to flip the script on Drake. There's talk they could start pulling out all the shady rumors that have been floating around about him and the OVO camp, and with Kendrick throwing lyrical darts that hit way too close to home, the timing's wild. Let's go back to Kendrick's track, Meet the Grams. He dropped some serious bars about creepy behavior in the industry. He talked about artists allegedly using their homes to lure victims, leaking videos, and pushing twisted agendas. Then came the bombshell. Kendrick directly said Drake's mansion might get raided next, just like Diddy's. And it didn't stop there. On Not Like Us, Kendrick turned it all the way up and threw out that line calling OVO certified PD file. That set the internet on fire. Drake tried to clap back on The Heart Part 6, saying he's way too famous to be guilty of any of that if it were true, he'd already be locked up. But let's be real, folks weren't convinced. Rich and powerful people, they dodge consequences all the time, so that I'd be in jail line, it didn't really land as it just raised more questions. Things got even weirder when Drake randomly name-dropped Stranger Things star Millie Bobby Brown on that same diss track. Now, everyone's heard the chatter about Drake's odd friendship with Millie. She was just 13 years old when they met, and fans have been side-eyeing it ever since.
Honestly, so fantastic and a great friend and a great role model. You know, we just texted each other the other day and he was like, I miss you so much. I was like, I miss you more. He's coming to Atlanta, so I'm definitely gonna go and see him. I'm so excited, yeah.
You and Drake, that's awesome. That's awesome.
What advice does he give you? Like, what does he say?
About boys, he helps me.
What?
Yeah, he's great. He's wonderful. I love him.
What's his advice with boys?
You know, that stays in the text messages.
But here's the catch. Kendrick never mentioned Millie in any of his tracks. Not once. He didn't even hint at those rumors. So why did Drake bring her up out of nowhere in a song aimed at Kendrick? It felt like he was trying to get ahead of something that wasn't even being talked about yet. And that only made it look more suspicious. And let's really think about this. Drake said he wanted to mentor Millie and even give her dating advice. But why wasn't he offering that same mentorship to the boys from Stranger Things? Wouldn't it make way more sense for Drake, a former teen actor himself, to mentor them instead? Instead, his attention was only on Millie, and that's what had people raising eyebrows. For years, Drake stayed completely silent about his bond with Millie until he finally said something on his 2023 album For All the Dogs. But instead of clearing anything up, he flipped the whole thing and called out the fans, labeling them weirdos for even bringing it up. No real explanation, no context, just deflection. And it doesn't stop with Millie. There's been a long list of rumors floating around about Drake, allegedly showing interest in other young women in the industry, like Kylie Jenner and Billie Eilish. Let's not forget, back in 2013 when Kylie turned 16, Drake was 27 and performed at her birthday party. There's even a pic of him kissing her on the cheek, and that moment has definitely not aged well. Fans are still side-eyeing that one. After Kendrick's diss track stirred the pot, the spotlight on Drake's past got even brighter, and it's not looking good. People are now digging into that viral video where Drake was caught on stage getting way too comfortable with a young fan. The girl told him her age, and instead of backing off, he made some wildly inappropriate comments about how she looked.
Y'all like it here, right? What is it? It's like herbal No, it's right. Y'all gonna have me get carried away again. I get in trouble. It's not only you. Oh, no. I can't go to jail yet, man. 17. Why do you look like that?
That moment still has folks cringing. Then came more tea in 2018. Vice dropped a bomb about 31-year-old Drake allegedly dating model Bella Harris. She had just turned 18, but that wasn't even the real issue. Reports say they actually met 2 years earlier during Drake's Summer 16 tour with Future, which would have made Bella just 16 at the time, while Drake was 29. That age gap and timeline had fans looking at him real sideways, and it didn't stop there. In 2019, Billie Eilish, who was only 17, told Vanity Fair that Drake, who was already 33, had been texting her regularly. She tried to play it cool, but the internet wasn't having it. By then, people were connecting dots, and it started looking like this wasn't just a one-time thing, it was a pattern. Some fans are even comparing Drake's behavior to how Diddy used to move, surrounding himself with young stars under the label of mentorship. Think back to those old clips of Diddy hanging around a teenage Usher and a young Justin Bieber. People are still giving those moments the side-eye to this day. Now, with Kendrick straight up accusing Drake and OVO of being tied to shady activity, fans are saying it's about time Drake faces the same kind of pressure that's been put on Diddy. The energy's shifting, and people want answers. And just when you thought the drama couldn't go any deeper, Kanye West slid in with a curveball of his own. On the Download podcast, Ye hinted that Drake isn't even the one calling the shots, saying everything Drake does has to be cleared by his rich baby daddy, Lucian Grange. That statement blew up fast.
Everybody, all of the great, you, Weeknd, Pluto, Metro, Ross, Kendrick.
Yeah.
Like, there's something obviously wrong with this one individual that no one wants to speak about. And I feel like you're the only person that's gonna really put it out there.
How you say rich baby daddy? It's like Drake has a rich baby daddy named Lucian and Universal.
Wow.
He's like, like, man, my daddy got it. You know what I'm saying? It's like, my daddy controlled the spins. My daddy got the DSPs. My daddy. Drake has a rich baby daddy named Lucian.
So all of his streams in the number ones is controlled by someone named Lucian.
Well, Lucian worked for people who control the banks in Africa, who keep,
oh my God.
Think about
it.
We had Black Wall Street, we had Harlem, we've been gentrified, and we ain't really been pulled together since, other than to maintain what they call the black vote, which you don't have an opinion in that vote. And then they get all these celebrities, they go on TV like, we got a problem with his political opinion. He's out of control. He's bipolar. He's anti-Semite. He's whatever they want to call somebody to try to get people to not listen or have, take away.
But hold up, it gets even crazier. Just when you thought this whole saga couldn't get any darker, an old blind item from 2018 has resurfaced, and it's got the internet shook. This mysterious post describes none other than Diddy and Drake as the alleged gatekeepers of 2 secret industry rings. And the accusations are wild. According to the blind item, these so-called rings are split by targets, one focusing on young male talent, the other on young female talent. The post reads, "There is an interesting dynamic going on in the music world right now. Sick and disgusting, but interesting in how it divides." It goes on to say that if you're a follower of a certain one-named permanent A-list singer, that means you're likely involved with developing underage boys. The post claims this group is all about scouting young male talent, grooming them, and pulling them into the inner circle. And guess who fans believe that A-lister is? Diddy, with rumors swirling that Usher was allegedly scouting boys for this crew. The post even claims this same A-lister was once part of the group himself before becoming a recruiter. Then comes the second group, and allegedly led by a foreign-born, one-named A-list singer, and that's where Drake's name starts flying around. This group is said to go after young girls, modeling their whole approach after R. Kelly's control over Aaliyah. It's all about getting them young, developing them musically, and more. The post even says they call themselves LMK after the R. Kelly and Aaliyah track Let Me Know. Supposedly, members even write LMK on their shoes to signal they're in the crew. Now, these are just allegations, but the timing has people buzzing hard, especially since Lucian Grange managed to quietly get himself and UMG dropped from Lil Rod's lawsuit and erase most traces of his long-standing friendship with Diddy. The streets are talking, and if any of this is even half true, Drake might be caught up in way more than just a rap beef. Drake just dragged himself right back into the spotlight, and not in a good way. Word is, Lucian Grange is livid. Sources close to Lucian and UMG say Drake has no clue what kind of fire he just lit. This isn't just some label tiff. They're saying UMG feels betrayed to the core. After everything they did for Drake, he went and turned on them. They're calling it the ultimate backstab. Let's not forget, UMG isn't just some random company, it's the biggest record label on the planet. And now folks are comparing Drake's legal stunt to Diddy's downfall after he sued Diageo. Diddy picked the wrong battle and watched his empire crumble. And insiders think Drake might be walking that same exact path. Drake's lawsuit is more than just a legal jab. It's a PR nightmare for UMG, and what makes it sting even more? UMG treated Drake like hip-hop royalty. We're talking one of the biggest deals in music history, $500 million. They pushed his career to insane heights, flooded streaming platforms with his songs, and gave him perks that most artists only dream about. But now Drake is flipping the script, accusing that same label of shady tactics and even dropping RICO-level claims. He's saying, UMG pulled sneaky moves to help Kendrick, when UMG allegedly used those same exact tricks for him in the past. That's the part that's got the execs fuming. For Drake to air out dirty laundry they might have helped him with, it's seen as total betrayal, and insiders say Lucian's camp isn't letting this slide. They're already planning to strike back, and it might not be subtle. Some folks are warning Drake's empire could be next. Just like Diddy, he might end up watching it all fall apart, not because he lost a rap battle, but because he picked a fight with the wrong power players. So what do you think? Did Drake just make the biggest mistake of his career by taking on UMG? Was this a bold power move or the start of his downfall? And do you believe UMG's really about to clap back the same way they allegedly have with others who dared to cross them? Are we watching another empire crack from the inside out? Or is Drake just playing a dangerous game with people who've got way more power than he expected? Either way, the streets are watching, the internet's buzzing, and this story is far from over. Now, drop your thoughts in the comments. We want to hear it all. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more deep dives into the chaos that's shaking up the industry. And trust, you won't want to miss what we've got coming next. See you on the next one.